Good evening. What's up, Star, here in chat? Do an audio test here. We'll get started here in just a minute. Gonna do an audio check real quick. We'll get started here in just a minute. Perfect. Audio's good. Let me know where you're watching from here in the chat. We'll give it a minute or so for people to file on in. And then we're going to discuss a couple things here. Two main topics of the evening. Number one being the very cold weather upcoming. And then the big story you guys are probably watching this stream for is information on the winter storm that is forecast to come into the state here on Saturday. Thank you, Corey. Sounds great. Victoria says, watching from Lafayette. We don't want it, says Sherry. How do you guys feel about the snow? Do you guys want the snow, or do you guys are like, no? We got Martinsville in chat, Valparaiso, Orland, Marysville. All right, cool. Well, we have 195 of you guys watching right now. Current time is 7:02. So I want to kind of dive in just a little bit based off latest model data, talk about different models, things we're going to watch. We'll talk snow totals as well. I'll go ahead and give you guys a disclaimer. We're not going to talk specifics in terms of locations and impacts and all the snow totals just yet. I'll give you an idea of what models are saying and kind of interpret it for you. But I'm going to basically highlight and say it's going to shift, it's going to change. Okay? Let's go ahead and start here with temperatures. We were quite tropical out there today. 40s for a lot of us. Quite a surprise and quite a nice treat compared to what we've been seeing, but that's not going to last long. Tomorrow, we are right back into the 20s for a lot of the state. By tomorrow evening, Thursday night into Friday, our actual temperatures for Friday morning across northern Indiana could be below zero. Looking at wind chills as well, this is going to start a very cold pattern. By Friday morning, pretty much the entire state of Indiana is below zero for our wind chills. If you're up in the northern part of the state, you're right around -20 or so, perhaps as low as -30 below for the wind chills. So it's going to be quite cold starting Thursday, tomorrow night. This Arctic air mass will be in place for several days, but our main focus is also going to be on this system coming in for Saturday. Not only is Saturday going to be very cold, but we also have a lot of snow to talk about. So, wide angle look here. This is the U.S. Systems to watch. Blue is snow, obviously. Green is rain. Anything pink or orange is a mix of freezing rain and sleet. We're going to watch this time frame here. We got some snow up in Michigan today. North Indiana could see a couple snowflakes tonight. Not out of the question there, but no major accumulations expected. Our attention shifted late Friday into early Saturday morning off to the west here. By 1 a.m. Saturday morning, our system is developing across Oklahoma and Texas. By the time we get to sunrise on Saturday, we could start seeing our first snowflakes around that 10 a.m. to, we're going to say, 2 p.m. time frame. So if you guys are looking for a start time of this in western Indiana, right around 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., snow should begin. Now, this system is going to move up here. It's going to start to strengthen, and as it strengthens, it pulls northward, brings heavier snow into that central and southern Indiana area, and the latest models suggest even northern Indiana getting in on some heavier snow. Do take note, though, we do not want any more north shifts, and the reason being, if we have any more significant shifts to the north, all of a sudden we have to worry about a lot of ice. Right now, that ice is sitting just off to the south of us in Kentucky and Tennessee. We don't want that here. So let's hope, if anything, this thing shifts back south. But for right now, it takes a bullseye right into the Ohio Valley region, and it coats Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, even parts of Michigan here in some moderate to heavy snowfall. This system continues all throughout Saturday, continuing into the day on Sunday. We're at 7 a.m. here. This will continue all through Sunday morning, into afternoon. Snow should begin to clear around that evening time frame on Sunday. So a long duration event here, a big system. If you back it up here, this system stretches from the east coast of Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, all the way back to Texas. This is a very, very large area here. But here's where the caveats come in. Let's go ahead and zoom in. to the Ohio Valley look. Let's go ahead and zoom this forward to Saturday morning or so. This system, over the last couple of model runs, has been shifting. Last night, we saw a significant shift to the south. Versus today, every model run is shifted north ever so slightly, ever so slightly. So a day and a half ago, this system was down. The snow zone was in Kentucky and Tennessee and the deep south, Alabama, Georgia states. But over the last day and a half, this thing has shifted 200 to 300 miles to the north, and all of a sudden, Indiana's on the bullseye here for heavy snow. What that tells us right now is this system is still fluctuating. We are still 3 to 5 days out from this system, so these fluctuations and shifts will continue. The good news, though, for right now at least, the latest 2 to 3 model runs has really locked in the track here on the European model. So if I kind of pause it right here Sunday morning, we're going to go back one model run. You're going to see not much change. Let's go back overnight run, not much change. The last 3 runs, back to last night, not much change. The last 3 to 4 model runs has been very consistently putting Indiana in the bullseye of this system. So let's talk snowfall totals. The big story here. If it takes the current track with no changes whatsoever, this is going to be a solid 6 to 12 inch snow event for a lot of us in Indiana. I'll roll this through. This is total snowfall. Do take note, northern Indiana is shown to get a few inches here, so you got to add 1 inch to 3 inches up there when all said and done. So let's go ahead and run this through. By the time we get to Sunday night, Indiana is coated in anywhere from, again, 6 to about 12 inches of snow. That goes from Evansville over to Louisville, up to Indianapolis, all the way up to Fort Wayne. The only area that doesn't get over 10 inches, according to the model here, is up here in northern Indiana by the Rensselaer-Gary area. That is the area of least confidence right now. But for right now, if no more track shifts happen, areas along and south of the I-70 corridor have the highest potential to see 6 or more inches of snow. If you guys saw our graphic on the page earlier today, we basically split the state in half. North half of the state, low confidence for 6 or more inches. South half, medium confidence. We are sticking to that right now based on latest trends. But again, take note, we could easily see this system shift back to the north and all of a sudden the entire state is in a 6 to 12 zone. Or opposite, we could see a shift south and North Indiana gets into maybe like a 1 to a 3 inch zone. There's a lot of variables here that could happen. But right now, the track is locked in on the European model. I think, based off data we're seeing, if no more shifts occur, 6 to 12 inches of snow is a good estimate here. Isolated higher, possible, but overall data suggests that 6 to 12 zone. One more thing I'll talk about here. Different models. We personally love the European model. The European model does a fantastic job 90% of the time. But models aren't perfect. We use the Canadian model and the American model as well. The Canadian model is even further north with this system. So here's the snow pack here off the Canadian model. It takes a more northerly track and it coats central and north Indiana within that 6 to 12 inch zone. And it also takes a little bit less snow further south here. So this is a different model solution. It's probably just a tad bit too far north, but it is a reasonable solution if we see a northward shift on all other models. So we'll consider it. The other model, the American model, is in left field. This model is kind of been thrown out by us internally here because it is so far off compared to all the other models. So the GFS, moving this into that time frame, has most of that snow in a very thin swath across Kentucky and Tennessee, like no shift ever happened, leaving Indiana with 1 inch or so for most of us. If you're really lucky in South Indiana, 1 to 3. That model is kind of tossed out, but it is a model to look at. So we'll talk about it. So putting it together, the European typically does fairly well. We feel like it's a good, solid solution for this. That's our base forecast right now. Again, 6 to 12 inches, a good bet south of Indianapolis. North Indianapolis, I think it's a good maybe 3 to 7 inch event at very least. Definitely could go higher as confidence increases or decreases. But Saturday into Sunday especially, plan for there to be some big snow here in the state. Right now, no big ice impacts are expected, but again, any northward jogs could bring southern Indiana into the ice zone. that is your briefing for this event. I will turn over to the comments now and take a peek at what you guys are talking about. And if you have any questions, let me know. I will happily answer those for you. Before you guys hop out of here, though, if you're about to hop off for the night, we'll be live again tomorrow at 7 p.m. as well. So stay tuned for updates. We'll have the latest data. We'll talk about basically everything I just talked about, but updated with latest guidance. I'll bring that up actually. I see a comment here in chat. It's windy out there. It is windy. I had it pulled up here. I didn't talk about it though. There are wind advisories in effect for portions of the state. Late tonight, close to 10 p.m. and after, we could see a burst of wind across central and northern Indiana. We could see gusts nearing 45 miles per hour in some spots. So it is quite gusty out there. But again, it should be pretty dry. We could see some snow showers up there close to the Michigan border, but overall not a huge concern. Going back to that model here, if we're basing this completely off the European model at verbatim, so at surface value, here is basically the snow amounts. I'll go ahead and zoom in here to Indiana for you guys. This is what we're going with currently, but we're also acknowledging that shifts are possible. There's your zoomed in look. So anywhere south of the I-70 corridor, I think is a good bet for anywhere from 6 to 12 inches of snow, based on right now guidance. If you live north of Indianapolis, I think it's still going to be a decent snow event, but I'm not sure if, I think 12 inches is definitely the high end up there further north. We decided to go 6 inches as our baseline. I think that's a good mix. Further north you go right now, the less you're going to get. But if you live up toward Fort Wayne over to Rensselaer, you're still in a 6 to 8 inch zone. So it's still a good snowfall for you guys. But up to the Michigan border though, only talking like 4 inches, 3-4 inches or so. And again, that's based off European data at verbatim. Adam, the only way that northern Indiana is going to get into a heavier snow is if this system shifts even further north. It's a possibility. It all comes down to really technical meteorological data. We're watching the high pressure, because the high pressure that's sitting above us is kind of suppressing the system and pushing it south. And the reason that the system has shifted so far north is because that high pressure is shown to be weaker and weaker and weaker, and now it's being displaced. So that high pressure is gone. All of a sudden, the system shot north. So we could still see some shifting, but right now, I think this track is getting itself locked in, truthfully. I really do. So anything shift-wise in the next couple of days will be quite minor in nature. It's a possibility, but it should be quite minor. So overall, I'm going to say North Indiana, possible. You can see some shifting, but significant changes to the forecast, I wouldn't say that. The wind during this time frame, the system's ongoing here, throughout Saturday into Sunday will be quite calm. So we're not talking blizzard-like conditions. We're not talking blowing and drifting. Wind gusts should be between 5 and 15 miles an hour. So nothing major is going on with the wind during the system. We do see an increase, though, on Sunday afternoon, just a bit closer to 20, 25 miles per hour gusts, but not enough to be concerned for anything significant blowing, drifting, or blizzard-like conditions. So no major impacts with the wind. Ice with this system right now is unlikely. If we see any more northward shifts, the very far southern counties of Indiana, we're talking about the Ohio River, they could sneak into some ice. But right now, that's not expected. If it does change, we'll let you know. So kind of summarizing, I see a lot of people asking about their questions about specific areas. It's all really generalized. If you live along or south of I-70, which is Indianapolis, and points southward, the current forecasts that we see based on models, I think it's a good 6 to 12 inch range of snow. If you live north of I-70, up to about Fort Wayne to Rensselaer area, it's going to be about probably 4 to 8 inches of snow. And if you live north of there, close to like Gary, South Bend area, you're talking more of like a 3 to 6, maybe 3 to 7 inch event. Christie, sleet is a possibility, but I think it's going to stay just off to the south. If I go back here to the European model here, I zoom into Indiana, you're going to see that cutoff is close to Indiana, but it's still technically just to the south. So we could technically see some mixing. It's only going to take about a 50-mile shift to the north to get that mix up toward the border of Indiana. But right now, I think it's going to stay off to the south. Nicholas, yes. The temperature during this time frame is going to be a whopping, get the time right here, a whopping 10 degrees or so. Further north is a lot colder, further south a bit warmer. But with these cold temperatures, our snow ratios are going to be very light and fluffy. This is not going to be a heavy, wet snow. This is going to be a very light, very fluffy like snow. That means our ratios are higher. So 10 to 1 is your typical ratio. That's a wettish type of snow. This could easily be 15 to 20 to 1 ratios for those of you who speak meteorological. The model on your screen currently is the one that we trust the most when it comes to winter weather. It's called the European model. We also look at ensembles, which are the same model ran over and over again. Each run is called an ensemble member. We also look at Canadian models, American models. We look at a whole different solution to figure out a forecast. And personally, I do think the European is the closest to what's realistic. Is there more of a chance for this to shift north or south? Good question, Jeremy. In my experience with winter systems like this, there's something called overcorrection that sometimes happens, and it usually happens in the last 48 hours of an event. So models will shift. We saw a big shift the last 24 hours or so. I would not be shocked to see an overcorrection where it comes back a tad bit further south. Would not be shocked by that at all. So if I had to hedge a bet between now and Friday morning, I would hedge a bet that this thing's going to shift just a hair to the south. Brad asks, is it possible for thunder snow? Right now, Brad, I'm going to say it's a very low chance. We're not going to really know the nitty-gritty details of how much instability and what all that's going to happen until we get closer to the event. It's possible. We could see some heavy snow there. Not going to rule it out. But with this system, I would say probably on the lower end. Timeline. I can do the timeline again for you guys. So backing this on up here to this model. I actually want to zoom in for you guys so you can see Indiana better. Give me 1 second. There we go. So backing this on up, this is tonight, Thursday evening. Not much going on in the state. Tomorrow will be dry. Again, some snow showers possible up there in North Indiana tomorrow and tonight as well. Not a huge deal there. Could add it to an inch or two. Here's the system Saturday. 10 a.m. We're going to start seeing that snow push into the state. I think it'll be a little bit later than that. Maybe closer to 2 p.m. or so for our first snowflakes. But late Saturday morning into early afternoon is when that time frame is focused in on for snow beginning in the western half of the state. If you're in the eastern half of the state, wait until about dinner time, 4 to 7 p.m. or so. That's when the bigger snowflakes start moving into the state, but as well as your first snow further east. So overall, time frame with this, beginning Saturday around noon or so, we'll say, give or take a few hours. Heaviest snow arrives late Saturday, continues into Sunday morning. It'll continue through the morning on Sunday, and then by Sunday evening, it is wrapping up and moving out of the area. So about 24 hours or so of solid snowfall for you guys. Again, south by 70. We're thinking right now, initial thoughts, 6 to 12. North by 70, anywhere from 3 inches to as much as perhaps 8 inches. That's the initial thought based on data we have. Again, it's going to change. It's going to shift a little bit, so take it with a grain of salt. Our first call forecast will be out probably sometime either late tomorrow. If not late tomorrow, Friday morning for sure. Can I show current counties underneath the winter storm watch? Yes, I sure can. Give me 1 second here. Whoa, there we go. That should be on the screen there. That's your current winter storm watch. Really just encompasses the very far bottom 2 tiers of counties in the state. There is no snow totals mentioned, but confidence, further south especially, is definitely high that we are going to meet or exceed winter storm watch, or sorry, winter storm warning or winter weather advisory criteria. Thoughts on driving from Fort Wayne to Columbus, Ohio, Monday around noon for a hockey game? It really just depends on how crews can treat the roads. Because truthfully, Monday, snow's gone. But if we get a good solid 6 to 12 inches of snow across a wide area, I would definitely expect there to be some travel impacts in the region throughout Monday. The storm starts Saturday around noon. It'll continue all day Saturday and overnight Saturday, and especially into Sunday morning before ending Sunday afternoon. Any other questions, guys? Currently, no ice expected. For us to get into the ice zone, we have to see another north shift with this storm. I would expect that to be on the low end chance of happening. Not impossible, but low end. So really, we're seeing all snow solution for the entire state currently. Right now, the European has the most realistic track of things. The Canadians too far north, the Americans too far south. The GFS is just, or sorry, the European is just right. That's our current thoughts. Ken says, can we still grill out this weekend? I mean, you're welcome to, but it's going to be cold. Wind chills are going to be below zero for a while for a lot of us here. We're not talking like a night. We're talking like several days in a row here. All right, one last time, going over everything once more. I'll wrap it up here for those just tuning in. We'll start from the top of things here. Tonight, we're going to cool off into Thursday. High temperatures tomorrow, going to be right around 30 degrees for a lot of us. Otherwise, mid-20s further north. Wind chills are going to start becoming an issue starting late Thursday into Friday. By the time we get into Friday yeah, Friday morning. Wind chills are going to be below 0 for pretty much the entire state here. As low as negative 30 degrees up by the Gary area. Otherwise, right around negative 15, negative 20 for a lot of us. Further south, negative 10. And if you're lucky down by the Ohio Valley River, you are looking at negative 2 to about 0 or so for your temperatures throughout Friday. Now, that will continue off and on for several days. We're talking into next week even. All weekend into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. Off and on, wind chills will be below 0 through the time period. So expect it to be very cold. Wind tonight will crank up after right around 9 to 10 p.m. and afterwards. Gusts up to 40 miles per hour are possible. So do plan on that. We could see some blowing trash cans as well as maybe some power outages. Overall, not a huge concern there for that, but just want to mention that before we dive into the snow system. We're watching a system develop that's going to bring us a lot of snow. Right now, we're tracking it off on the western coast of the U.S. We will be watching this late Friday into the day on Saturday, and by the time Saturday morning rolls around, our first snowflakes could fall, 10 a.m. or so. Right around noon or so, give or take a few hours. Put that in the back of your head for a start time of this snow. It'll continue all day Saturday. Heavier snow moves in Saturday night into Sunday morning. That's the darker blue there. It continues all night into Sunday morning. And by the time the afternoon rolls around on Sunday, we are saying goodbye to the system with leftover snow showers Sunday evening. By Monday morning early, we are left with clear skies. But if you live up by the Michigan border, we could have some lake effect snow behind it. So we're talking like South Bend areas. Would not be shocked to see snow showers continue into the day on Monday. As far as snow amounts go, we feel the European model has a good handle on this system. That says if this model has no changes between now and the system, that would put anywhere south of Indianapolis in a 6 to 12 inch zone, and we're north of Indianapolis, a 3 to about 8 inch zone. That's your rough total. So wide total, we're going to narrow it down as we get closer. But right now, it looks to be about a 6 to 12 inch system for south of Indianapolis and a 3 to 8 inch system north of Indianapolis. Keep in mind, shifts are still possible north and south. So don't lock these totals just yet. Zooming in for you guys to see, North Indiana is in that 3 to 5 inch zone there. That north central part is right around 6 inches or so. And then the 70 corridor there by Indianapolis is where things get heavier and heavier. 6 to 12 inches is a good total for areas south of there. Other models, the Canadian model is too far north, we feel like. This is what it says currently. It has most of the heavier totals across Fort Wayne, Kokomo region. And then the American model is kind of in left field. It has a very thin, narrow swath that is way south. No big shifts on that model just yet. We threw it out. We don't like it. We don't think it's accurate. But those are the three main models that we use. Overall, European is a good solution for everything that we feel is most accurate for right now. With that being said, tomorrow morning we'll have an update. Hopefully, by tomorrow evening, we'll have our first prediction with snow totals, but it's going to be based on data. If we are confident with data holding, we'll do a forecast with specifics. If we're not confident, though, we're going to wait until Friday morning to get a forecast out to you guys. Okay? With that said, there's no major wind with this event, so no blizzard conditions, no major blowing of snow. It'll be a very light and fine snow because temperatures throughout this time frame are very, very cold. Temperatures on Saturday at 3 p.m. at the height of this event, right around 5 to 10 degrees. It's going to be cold. Wind chills as well, while it's snowing, will be below 0. And again, as I mentioned before, these wind chills will continue to be below 0 off and on, even into next week. We're into Monday now. We're right back into negative 25 or so for northern Indiana, negative 15 for southern Indiana. So wind chills are going to be a main story as well. Aside from the snow, it's going to be cold. Plan accordingly. With that said, I am Ryan here. I'm going to sign off for the night. We'll be back live tomorrow, 7 p.m. Another briefing. Pay attention to the pages tomorrow morning for an update, and hopefully tomorrow evening for our first official forecast here with this system. But again, that's going to be dependent on how data and our confidence in that data is looking. I appreciate you guys watching. I will catch you all later. You say English. You guys stay safe and stay warm out there.